I grew up in a Muslim household, and from a young age, I knew I was gay. And I was always scared of how my life would be destroyed if anyone ever found out. And I feel like there was always expectations on who you should be, what your future should look like, and how you should act. And everything was very traditional. And you grow up knowing what's right, what's wrong, not necessarily because someone sits you down to explain it, it's just the environment that you grow up in. And being gay, that just wasn't part of the conversation. That was something you never saw, never heard about, and it was never shown as a possibility. So as a kid, I didn't even have the language for what I felt, I just knew that I was different. I remember being quite young and noticing that I wasn't like other boys around me. The way they talked about girls and the way they acted, I just knew I couldn't relate. And at the same time, I was noticing things about guys that I didn't understand. But when you're that young, you don't sit there and label it, you just feel it. And because I had no reference point, I couldn't just be like, oh, that means I'm gay. It was more like this quiet confusion in the background of my life. And I think that's one of the hardest parts. When you don't feel like you understand yourself, how can you ask anyone else? So what do you do in that situation? You stay quiet. You learn very quickly to keep certain thoughts to yourself. And when you pick up on the fact that being gay would not be accepted, that's when the fear starts to set in. A constant underlying feeling of, I can't let anyone know this about me. And that starts to affect how you behave, how you carry yourself, how you adapt to other people, how you hide certain parts of yourself. You're almost editing yourself in real time just to fit in. And over time, that silence turns into something heavier. You start asking yourself, why do I feel like this? Can I change it? Is it just a phase? And when your environment doesn't give you any positive reflection of who you are, it becomes very easy to internalize that something is wrong with you. I definitely went through a phase of trying to hide who I was, trying to push it down, act like it wasn't there. But the truth is, you can only do that for so long. And I think one of the hardest parts of my life was being alone with it. Not being able to talk about it, not feeling like there would be anyone who would understand me. And genuinely believing that if people found out, it would ruin my life. And that fear becomes a part of you. It shapes how you navigate the world and who you trust in your life. And looking back, I can see how much pressure I was carrying. But at the time, I didn't have the clarity that I have now. All I knew was that I was different and I couldn't show it. And that led me into the next phase of my life. And that's when things start to get even more complicated. And if you ever felt like you had to hide a part of yourself growing up, you'll understand exactly what came next.